Famous Hollywood actor Zach Levi. He was the lead character in the Shazam movie franchise. Great guy. He's a conservative voting for Trump, and he came out of the closet and told everyone, welcome to Doug in Exile. I'm Doug TenNapel. This is the Doug TenNapel channel, and he absolutely destroys Whoopi Goldberg and The View here. Why does The View keep coming up in my life? I don't know.
Oh, and by the way, to Whoopi Goldberg and to Sonny and to all of the folks at The View.
I hope they're listening to this message, just of all the things you can listen to, because you guys are monsters. The View and Hollywood liberals treat conservatives like trash.
I I don't think it's accurate to say that somehow Hollywood is both a liberal and a conservative town. To Whoopi's point, back in the day, there might have been a bit more of a balance, and there have always been more, let's say, conservative-leaning stars that have been able to say those things. But
oh, those ancient days when you could actually speak your mind as an American and have a political difference with your town. I think of John Wayne, who is called a bigot. I've seen the cast of Cowboys say that what they heard about him was terrible, and that terrible person never showed up on set, that they said had nothing but good things to say about him, but that they hated his politics and treated him like garbage. And then there's Charlton Heston, who came out and was the first actor to walk with Martin Luther King Jr. when it was very unpopular to do so. But he was also pro NRA. From my cold, dead hands, you can take this gun. I remember Tim Roth on Planet of the Apes saying he could barely do a scene with him. He hated him so much. Then, of course, there's Ronald Reagan, cute character actor who became the president of the United States. And Donald Trump is probably some kind of a Hollywood figure, too.
You really have to be at a certain level of your career in order to get away with it. Number one.
How famous do you have to be? I believe Donald Trump said if you're famous enough, you can grab a woman by the, oh, that's what he's talking about. That in Hollywood, if you have enough power, you can get away with a lot of stuff, like even tell people that you're a conservative. But you have to have a bunch of fame and a bunch of power, or your career is going to be destroyed. If you're a grip or a cameraman or in craft services, you'll just suddenly stop getting phone calls. That's what happened to me.
But number two, that was also back then. And I think naming just Jon Voight and Dennis Quaid, and really you only named Jon Voight, Whoopi, somebody else had to help you with Dennis Quaid, of the thousands of actors in Hollywood that you could only name two, I think actually speaks to that.
Yeah, there are tons of Hollywood actors that are conservative, but they know better than to ever open their mouth, because liberals are so oppressive. That is, they will take away your money, your ability to pay for your family, to feed your family, if you're at all outspoken about it. Now, of course, that doesn't affect the left. The left can say anything they want. The more they speak out about politics, the more popular they get in Hollywood, for the most part. This is the two-tiered justice system. Conservatives don't have a right to speak without repercussion, and liberals have a right to speak without repercussions. They have, but don't pretend like it's even, Whoopi. Don't pretend like there's only Jon Voight in Hollywood, when you've oppressed everyone else, and you'll destroy everyone else who comes out to the public.
And what that means is there's plenty, and by the way, they have sent me lots of messages, plenty of people in my industry, in Hollywood, that are terrified to publicly say that they would vote for Donald Trump or be conservative in any way. That's why you don't see them. That's why they're not very prevalent or prominent, because they know that there's ramifications for this kind of shit.
They know that there's evil ramifications. I've got those same emails from people that aren't as loud as me on every one of my crews, going back to Nickelodeon back in 2008 when Obama won and Trump won in 2004. They would come up and whisper to me, "Go, Doug, I'm on your side. I'm not going to say anything because I'm terrified." I get the same emails from the video game industry. So that's animation, video games, and comic books, of course. Everyone knows that if you want to work, you can't tell them what you think. I was working on VeggieTales when Trump won in 2016, and I had crew members come into my office and whisper in terror as DreamWorks offered everyone a day off of mourning for psychological damage or whatever that they wouldn't have offered us if Hillary won. They wouldn't be saying, "Doug, you can take a day off for psychological damage." No, that was always only for one side. They've been this way. And this is evil, guys, if there is such a thing, of saying whatever's rolling around in your heart, you cannot work. Half of America can't work in Hollywood if you're outspoken. So what are we to do about it?
But like I said, y'all, our industry is going to be f***ing gonzo. Like it already is. We're getting eroded. The pandemic and the strikes and all of these things, they've already eroded it so much.
And what party was the most pro the pandemic lockdowns and destroying theaters? Democrats. What party is more for unions striking? Democrats. You destroyed your own industry. Go woke, go broke. Those are the rules. And now they're going to go even farther, chasing away the right half of America from any of your content. You despise your own audience. You despise traditional families. You despise traditional conservatives of all kinds. You're just like, don't watch my show. Go watch something else. You're literally anti-business, anti your own job.
My cry to all of you out there, you closeted conservatives, closeted Trump voters.
Yeah, and he's laughing about closeted because we are in the closet. Most conservatives know that if they come out of the closet publicly for Trump, they will lose work. Closeted came from the gay people in the industry. In fact, the writer of the movie Cowboys that John Wayne starred in was a closeted gay person. And they called themselves the Friends of Judy, meaning Judy Garland. That was their code word. They'd go, "Are you a friend of Judy?" And they knew that they couldn't be public about their homosexuality or they wouldn't work. Well, now Republicans know they have to be quiet. And I'm friends with Patty Heaton and Kelsey Grammer and Lieutenant Dan, who started a group that we were in, a secret Hollywood group back in 2008 called Friends of Abe. So instead of Friends of Judy Garland, we called ourselves Friends of Abe, meaning Friends of Abe Lincoln. And our theme was Liberty Loves Company.
Y'all, it's now or never. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I do whatever you feel like you need to do. If you need to come out publicly and say it, if you don't, if you feel like you still can't, then don't. You know, I would never pressure you to that.
Yeah, you can't pressure someone else into heroism. Like, hey, you put your career on the line. It's a very tough thing to tell people to be vocal about their values because it will cost them their job and maybe they don't have the stomach for it in the way that I'm okay with it. I've always said it's my values and my free speech, or you go to heck, because I really believe it's an American and absolute right that you have to exercise or it gets flabby or it goes quiet and people get the wrong perception that there's only two conservatives in Hollywood because we're all quiet. That's out of fear of self-protection. At some point, you got to give up the fear of self-protection and start coming out because it is go time now.
But know that if what you're afraid of is somehow the backlash of an industry that's not going to exist very soon, then don't let that hold you back.
And that's a great point from Zachary, that the industry's dead. They killed it. It's demolished. So now you're trying to preserve a job that barely even exists anyways. So it's a good time to come out and be vocal. That's what I'm here doing. And yes, it cost me my career. Yes, it cost me a bunch of YouTube channels. Yes, it cost me to be vocal. I cannot sell a comic book story now. I sold, out of my 20 graphic novels I made, I'd sold half of them into Hollywood. That's where I made my money. I didn't make money selling comic books. The comic books don't make enough money for me to fund my family and my 4 kids. Okay. I made the money by selling the intellectual property rights into Hollywood, and they'll never buy something of mine again because it would cost them too much because of how vocal I am for my conservative values. And I thank you all for watching because the greatest success I've achieved now is right here on this YouTube channel, because you guys have watched and given my family income for as long as this YouTube channel lasts. I don't know how long it's going to get destroyed, but that's what you learn. You get vocal, you get destroyed, and you start another business somewhere else. I'm Doug in exile. Yeah, we destroyed it. And what pow?